Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I'm Kendall Bonner, and I am so excited to have an opportunity to be with you this morning and kind of share with you some success stories that I've gotten to hear in the background. And really, my favorite part is I get to interview and chat with one of my favorite humans on the planet, Veronica Figueroa. Thank you so much, Vero, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I always love, obviously, being in proximity with you, virtually or in person. So it's exciting to be here and, of course, share a little bit about what we're doing. And I love what you're doing. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know where you are right now, which you should, you are at the Realty Roadmap series. This is a webinar and mastermind hosted and sponsored by Realty.com. Veronica Figueroa and the FIG team are clients and partners with Realty.com and have been for quite some time. And so today we really just want to get into the story of Realty.com and the FIG team and the relationship and how you guys came to be. And then I know we also have some additional guests that we'll bring on to the show in just a few minutes. But first, I just want a little one-on-one time, some girl time, to talk to my friend about you've built a team, a very successful team, Veronica, over the years. You've been a powerhouse and an industry leader in real estate for quite some time. You have a reputation, you have influence. I mean, people look up to you. And I think one of the best things about you is that you've always been so transparent about your journey and about your story and how you came to be. And, you've built this mega machine, not by yourself. I know you did it with others and you've had a great support system, but you've been the leader of a very strong real estate team and building a team, going from a solo agent, which I know you were, a solo agent for quite some time. You've been a broker owner, transitioning into this passion that you have for your team and growing that organization. Let's just talk about that a little bit, right? Like talk to us about the team and how you came to be and how you came to be where you are today.
Yeah, I'd love to. I was reflecting back on it not too long ago. I was like, gosh, it's almost a decade since I had a true structured team, right? I used to be an REO agent, and I did have, a team that helped me with our REOs back in the days. But like, really, a structured team in a traditional market right around 2013 is when I really just started forming this vision. It started off as just referral agents, and I realized, like there's got to be some accountability here. And I remember the first time I ever looked into online lead gen, it was foreign to me. I was like, what is this? I mean, I'm just used to like farming and belly to belly real estate and community real estate. And I'll never forget when I, looked into, what it would look like to have a structured team, a team that was accountable and offer agents additional support. And it started in 2013, and then quickly it turned into multiple iterations of the big team of what you see today. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've done some things right, but we probably failed more than what we've done right. So I'm not afraid to share that either, because I want people to know that this isn't perfect. We're not perfect, but our team officially formed in around 2013. And we have since then, from a small team, grown to, any given day, we have about 65 to 70 agents. Plus we have staff that supports that. And, the team has grown from, again, what it was just originally a referral team to then a small structured homegrown team in a little community called Avalon Park, where we used to do a lot of community events. And then from there, we became I would say, a team that has proven through the test of times and failing over and over again to be a strong online lead gen team. My relationship started with Zillow. It started with Realtor.com. It started with, I think back in the day, had voice pad as a lead source. It had community events as a lead source, and that's how I pretty much grew the team. I had enough business to support agents who were in our world, and then from there, again, developing the agents and really creating an opportunity that we could all share in this business and serve clients at a high level, was ultimately the goal, right? To serve clients at a level, because we had earned the trust of the consumers. And then I learned about this online lead gen, I would say, formula. I was like, I put $1 in, I could get 3 out, or 4, or 2.5, and 5 would be great. It was kind of like a little ATM machine, right? And then I was like, I could reinvest. And what quickly started as a budget of $200 a month quickly turned into, a real business model. And 10 years later, here we are.
Wow. It's so impressive, honestly, what you've been able to achieve, and it's inspiring for those of us. I remember when I was starting my team, you were the first person I called, of course, and I wanted to pick your brain, but you also have built an amazing group around you. And so I want to bring in a couple of additional special guests that I'd love for you to help me introduce, so that they can help us develop the story and this journey that you've had with online leads, and specifically also with realty.com. So the first person I'm going to bring up is your COO, Eric Perez.
Hi, Eric.
Welcome, Eric.
I'm here, guys. I did it. I waited. Didn't say a word the whole time.
And, I also like to bring in Harold Torres, also a staff person on your team. Veronica, tell us a little bit about these two gentlemen and the impact they're making in your organization by bringing all the talent and skill that they have.
Absolutely. Of course, Harold, I'll start with him. Harold's been in my world for a long, long time. We sit and share stories. I was the crazy real estate lady that would come down late at night from working long hours. Back in 2009, my office was right above where he worked, where he was a bartender. And, I would come down late, and I'd come right before they were going to close. I probably drove him crazy. And he knew exactly what I wanted. And I usually was exhausted. But back in the day, we were crushing it with REOs, and he got to know me, and he's just such a people person. And I remember meeting him, and I loved his personality. And I said what I say to most people that I actually meet that I think has that X factor. I was like, have you ever thought about a career in real estate? I was like, you have everything. You have all the qualities. You're a people person. You care. You know everyone, and he knew the community. And that was back in 2010, I think, that I was able to convince him to come into real estate. And here we are in 2013. He's been on our team for so long, on and off. He went to Jersey, but he's seen the different iterations of our team, from an REO team. He was part of our REO operation. Then when we, were full on farming in a specific area, became one of our top agents, and eventually has led many, many divisions of our team. When we did our instant offers, Zillow offers, campaign, and we launched that, he led our entire CMA division and valuation division. It was one of the best, I would say, analysts in the country. He's done, I would say, thousands and thousands of valuations and built that division, and now is our director of sales. I mean, he's had many, many roles with us, but is extremely important to our world and to our agents, and our agents love him very much. And he also leads our Zillow Flex and all of our lead portals as far as accountability for the agents and making sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do, because we have a responsibility to our partnerships. And he's a big advocate. He's seen our world pre-online lead gen and post-online lead gen, and has been a big, big part of every aspect of our growth.
I love that.
And then Eric is our COO. Eric came into our world about 3.5 years ago. I know you guys are seeing his great side profile because he's got multiple cameras there, but he actually has big, beautiful eyes. Eric came into our world when I needed someone that was equally obsessed with data as I was with, people and development and real estate. And I remember praying to God, I was like, gosh, I really need someone who is absolutely just a beast when it comes to data. And we were launching our Zillow Flex program at the time. And Eric just happened to come into my life during COVID on the beach. We just happened to meet through mutual friends, and he said he was a data scientist or mathematician. I was like, what is that? And it was like, I literally had just prayed for God to send me, like what I needed. And we were just talking, and he was telling me what he did for a living. And I was like, here is the magic question. Have you ever thought about a career in real estate? And he's like, lady, what are you talking about? I was like, hear me out. It was the best sales pitch I ever did, I think. One of the best recruits I ever brought into my world. And 3.5 years later, he's helped run our, not only our Flex team, our ISA team, crush Zillow offers, and we became the #1 team 2 years in a row at EXP under his leadership and mentorship as well. And we're just so grateful for him. He's definitely brought us a completely different, I would say, level of growth for our team. Like our world just opened up when he came into our world. And we really started looking at our business completely different, and really measuring and measuring behavior and understanding what can be, predictable behavior. Right. And before we used to be just like I would say the average person just fly by the seat of your pants or just, ad hoc. And, this person's a rock star. How come? Because they sound good. He's like, no, let's look at the, behavior. So he really did change our world and how we looked at real estate in general. And I think, he's grown to love real estate now and real estate agents. And here we are.
Love it, love it. Well, I have had the pleasure of knowing, all three of you, being in proximity with all three of you, being able to pick the brains of all three of you. And so I'm super excited to, kind of dig into your relationship with online leads, your relationship with Realty, and really kind of get some insights into what you guys are doing that is causing such great success. So the first thing let's talk about is what success you're actually having with the platform and with the lead generation that you're doing with Realty. Eric, I'm going to start with you because I know that at one point you were going to cancel with Realty and something stopped you. Uh-oh, Veronica, you're muted.
You're muted.
Can I say something real quick? It's ironic that all three of us are here because we were all in Phoenix when we found out about realty.com about 3 years ago, right? We were at a training in Phoenix. And we were visiting another team and we happened to be invited to a dinner. And that's when we were introduced to realty.com, all three of us. So from the inception, they have been a part of realty.com to now. So it's just ironic that we're all together. So Eric, I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. So before that, I did have that question. When did your relationship with realty.com start? Sounds like it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, we knew that there was going to be a change in our business and we had heard about realty.com and we were like, well, we need additional lead sources for our agents. We need to make sure that, we're able to supplement and the growth of our database. And, a friend of ours in the business said, hey, you should check out realty.com. I was like, man, what? I don't like realtor.com at the time. And he was like, no, not realtor.com, realtor.com. And listen, shout out to realtor.com. I have no qualms with them. But at the time, we weren't getting the conversion that we wanted there. So I was like, I'm good. And then they explained it was realty.com, your city, your lead. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And, we were all together and we're like, what's the worst that can happen? And here we are 3 years later.
Wonderful. All right, Eric, tell us.
I think actually it's funny, Veronica, because you're right. But remember, when we went to largely referral-based models in our lead gen, we were like, these lenders got to pay something. That was really what the conversation started. It's like, we just can't have them in our office without contributing to our spend. So we're like, let's go. And it kind of just worked out great. We were in the need of a lead source. We weren't loving realtor.com at the time. I was actually arguing with them every day. So then we found a different lead platform that offered buyer and seller leads. That was exclusivity, and we took it on. I think one of the issues that we had early on was that we did it for lender contribution. We didn't do it for conversion, right? We did it to keep somebody in our world. So when we were looking to cancel, it was really from the lender's perspective of what was going on. And then we kind of like knew the market was shifting. We knew the high referral model wasn't profitable long term. We knew that if we wanted to grow a big team, we need to offer more opportunities to our agents, and we wanted to break that 40 agent count badly. So, we really, focused on it and let focus expand. So we went from a cancellation call with Lance. Realty.com was different back then too. It was Lance and Adam, right? There was no Kendall, there was no Ryan, there was none of that. So to a cancellation call, and then I'm like looking at the database and we're like, well, we're not even trying, So we kind of we recalibrated what we wanted. We put some of our, more senior agents on it. We kind of understood the product better. We really got deep into it, looking at it as a buyer product and a seller product and really dissecting what that means to us. And then we really just pounded the sellers. We really, really focused on the sellers so heavily. We found so much success in that. Even Q2 this year, we took I think 35 listings from Realty.com just in Q2. And it's been just a compound effect and a multiple effect once we started really focusing on it. But that was like two and some change years ago. And just recently, I would say this year, really focused on converting the buyers as well. And, I would say for once, we've taken a lead platform and made it profitable. But, it's really about your focus and building a pipeline and things like that. So that's it started for lender contribution. And then we actually were like, okay, let's sell real estate. And so that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you guys have seen some you've consistently seen success, but even just recently, you have had leads convert. How many,
Yeah.
I think through August, how many pendings did you guys have just from Realty?
August, we did 7 retail pendings and a wholesale deal. So we got 8 transactions out of Realty.com. And the cool thing is September, we got right under 60 closings this month. I could pull the data specifically, but it's cool to see that I think 10 out of the 60 are Realty.com specific. I'm about it. Yeah, about 10 out of the 60. So it's cool to see the compound effect in real estate. You win in multiples in this game. You got to put in the deposits early on, and then you win in multiples. So it's like anything else. It's delayed gratification, and we're making money. So that's good.
Yeah. And then how about from, a perspective of is this one of your top lead sources now?
And profitability, it's number one outside of Sphere, right? So when you grow a big team, which I encourage all of you guys that have a lead platform, you must go for agent count in terms of support, because your most profitable lead source will be the ones that the agents bring to you ultimately, but you need to subsidize their business and keep them going. So that's what a 50-50 partnership is to some regard. But yeah, number one profitability lead source is Sphere. Number 2 is Realty.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Harold, you're responsible for bringing them in and helping them, your agents convert the leads. What kind of changed in terms of strategy and scripting and tactics? I'd love to hear from both you and Eric about how you guys evolved the strategy over time, to adjust to the current marketplace.
Of course, yeah. So exactly what Eric mentioned earlier on the call as far as, whoops, forget about that. But how Eric mentioned what you focus on expands, right? That was more of a program that we were, in the beginning, we were just letting the agents run it, basically, right? We were focusing on the ones that have those referral fees and those cadences. So Eric spotted it, myself, and we just went about it as far as, all right, let's change this up. Let's see if we put a small group of agents on this versus letting it open to the entire team. Let's see what a small.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
We might have lost him. I know what happened. That was there. Oh, you're back? Okay.
I'm here. Yeah, we're good. All right, cool. We put a small group of agents on and we just realized that, hey, if they actually die, he's here. And that's exactly what started. If this lead source says, hey, I'm going to reach out to them 2 or 3 times, you're not going to succeed with any lead source, right? So you definitely have to dial out quite a bit. I would say easy 10 to 15 touches you're going to have to reach out. And again, understand where this lead is coming from, right? They might be in the beginning stages, and as long as you're continuing to reach out to them, they're going to pick up the phone or they're going to answer back when they are ready. But most importantly, Eric, a couple months back, said, hey, if this lead comes in and we're not putting any type of drip, or let's say, for instance, we use YLOPO, so we're targeting each one of these clients with a YLOPO search. Hey, now we could manage that client a lot better because we're watching what they're looking at when they're on the website. Hey, they looked at 123 Main Street 10 times. Maybe now's the time to call them on that one, right? So you have to continuous prospecting on them, but also you have to bring some type of value, and you have to let your systems work for you. So I think those were the biggest things that changed in our game. Like Eric mentioned, seller leads are excellent. So for instance, before this, I'm looking at a lead that one of our agents has been taking care of. How long have they been in the system for? A year. So it just means that they're ready now for us. And again, I think the common theme, and especially this year for lead sources across the board, is the nurture game, right? We're in this market that is a little interesting, right? You have buyer demand at a low, you have supply at a low, yet people are dancing around. So it's a long-term nurture game, and that's across the board, whether it's a realty.com or any other lead platform. That's what you need to focus on. I think I got it all, Eric. What do you think?
You crushed it. You crushed it.
And I just want to say, like, I've been doing this for a long time. So anyone who's listening I just really want to reiterate what they said. I've never looked at business as the lead came in and there's instant gratification, or the opportunity came in, there's instant gratification. Guys, this is a process. I've never said I'm going to sell all the real estate that I can sell today. I understand that I'm going to sell homes in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. I made that a part of my business strategy. And what I've used this is not only to connect with more buyers and sellers, but grow our database. And like Eric and Harold already probably, you heard that, the value that we're providing this consumer, right? It's not about, oh my God, I got a warm transfer and it didn't close today. It's, were you the person that built enough trust that when they are ready to convert or close or start their search, that they're going to go with you? Especially in this very competitive market, guys.
Yeah.
People have been searching on multiple portals. We have leads that come in 3-4 times, and they come in through different portals. And it just irks me and bothers me. And it's mind blowing when agents say, oh, well, like the leads suck. No, the leads don't suck. The leads don't suck. I've heard that at realtor.com, Zillow, you name it, Realty, YLOPO, all these different things. Have you provided enough value? And what is your nurture follow-up game? And that is the one thing I hope people get out of this, is like, really take a good look at what is your internal process to earn the right to do business with these people, the opportunity. Because just because they fell into your database doesn't mean that it's a slam dunk. It's a lay down. I know we're going to bring Sean on, who's our lead listing agent, because I know some people probably want to hear about the strategies, the script we use, how we convert sellers at a high level, and also buyers as well, which Harold and Eric can allude to. And I'm going to pop off early. I just wanted to make sure I emphasize, as we are reviewing these different lead sources, and Eric said it, Harold said it earlier, like sometimes they've been in our database for 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years. We actually celebrate that on our team. When we close a transaction, or we help a client, buyer, seller, and we look back as to when they entered our database or when the relationship started, we're like high-fiving. We're like, dude, we closed a deal that was like a year and a half, in our system, or 2 years. We're high-fiving because in the way we look at it, is we really were intentional with the follow-up and the nurture, and it goes to prove like there's gold in our database. There's opportunity in our database, and there's opportunity in your guys' database as well if you actually take a look at what you have in front of you. So that's all.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I want to, thank you for bringing up Sean, because he's been patiently waiting in our waiting room. And I did want to introduce him at this time. So we have Sean Rourke, also one of the agents on the FIG team. Veronica, do you mind saying a few words about Sean, how long he's been on your team? And then love to also talk to an actual team member who's working the leads, is making the dials and having the conversations with the customer.
Absolutely. Sean is just he is one of the best agents I've ever met. I mean, he's his discipline, his commitment, his habits, and his care for this team and the consumers is just by far one of the best I've ever had the privilege of, being in business with someone. Sean came to our team, what, about 2 years ago, Sean? It's been about 2 years.
2 years.
And today he is our lead listing partner, and he trains our agents on conversion, listings, lead sources, cash offers, and he's one of the best when it comes to role playing and scripting and just follow up. And I mean, just stellar. I don't want to take up too much time other than just let him spit the game on what are the best practices of conversion, how it is that we're converting at a high level together with what Eric has in place and Harold. But Sean, it's always a pleasure to, be in business with you and know that we're doing this together.
Thank you so much for those kind words. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Sean, tell us a little bit about your success that you're having with the realty.com lead specifically. What has that looked like for you? What has that done for your personal production? And then of course, we'll get into some of the tactics and how you're able to convert them. But first, let's just talk about how you're winning.
So it's exactly as Harold said, it's going to take a little bit of time. These need to mature. Some people are ready to go. The majority of them aren't. And you get the craziest excuses on how they signed up. They don't know. I love the one where they say, my kid was playing with my phone. So I guess, the kid loves realty.com. I don't know. But I know that if you follow up with these people and you call them consistently, they're going to either call you back randomly when they're ready because you put your name, your email, everything's just been in their face. So ultimately that follow-up is the key. The people that are ready to go, perfect. I mean, it's like it's a lay down. But the ones that really, really, really start to matter and then bring referrals and then also just seeing, I'll tell you, the realty.com leads, the people have matured so long and you've dealt with them so long, calling them, that their trust in what you're going to do for them is extraordinary. And they tend to be the easiest closer. Outside, but just dealing with client-wise, not outside of anything with title or anything like that. But these leads require a strategy. And the strategy I use is some people do 10 days of pain. I'm calling these people every day for 30 days, at least once a day. Then they also get text, emails. Then I slow it down to once a week, twice a week. But what I'm seeing is like that 12 to 14 months, up to about 16, sometimes longer. Those are the people that are calling and saying, hey, I'm sorry I never got back to you. I wasn't avoiding you. I just wasn't ready. And all right, perfect. So you're looking to sell. We're getting ready to do so. We want to use you because you have spent the last year, for lack of a better word, bothering me. Mm-hmm. So that repetition of getting your name and them hearing your voice and they're seeing your emails and you're providing information constantly, because I send CMAs even if they don't request it. Mm-hmm. It's a market update for them. And ultimately, what you're doing is, this is an information game. It's trust, building relationships, and information. The more information you can provide someone, it helps give them a better idea of what's going to be best for them and possible for them. And with the realty.com stuff, we start with a cash offer. We have some exclusive broker partnerships with Open Door. And I mean, I hate to say this, but it's so easy to use some of their cash offers for some, especially in our market where there's limited inventory. It's easy to transition from the cash offer to now you're going to list with us because this is what we're going to provide and this is what you're going to walk away with when all the dust settles and we're closed.
So good.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to add to this conversation, and of course, Harold and Eric, please chime in. A couple of points that I want to reiterate that have been made. One, the treasure is in the pipeline, right? What they say, the gold mine's in the pipeline, and that is one of the real values I think of sourcing portal leads and realty.com leads is like you are building a pipeline. And I tell my team all the time, I was like, the strength isn't in the today business. The strength is in an activated pipeline. And how you activate a pipeline is you have business for tomorrow, right? This is the reason why every agent's business does this is because they only focus on the business that closes today. And I think if we focus on the business that can close 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 18 months away, guess what happens? Your business does this because you're constantly focusing on the future and not just today. So I really love that you guys brought that up. The other thing that I know Harold was talking about, and I want to reiterate this, is and so did Sean, is the communication cadence, right? So there's got to be contact attempts in the form of calls, text, emails, value proposition, meaning sending out CMAs or some sort of market analysis or market update. Tell us a little bit about, I don't know which one of you feels the most comfortable talking about. I imagine that might be Eric, the cadence of, what you're sending, what you're doing, how often you're doing it so that people can have a framework to start from. And the one thing I do want to say to our audience is this: there's no perfect or one way to do something. The best way to do it is the way that you're going to consistently do it and then have an actual plan that you follow up with and you follow through with, right? It's about consistency and it's about implementation. So, and then of course, I feel like the next
one word,
adding more to it. Yes, Eric.
One word. It's strategy. There's just one word. It's your strategy. I think, and we beat our heads against the wall to determine the right strategy, right? Because no one gave us the playbook. So I think from a company perspective, we're emailing and sending advertisement to these consumers weekly. And we lead with value, right? We're always trying to give them value. If they're buyer-based value, if they're seller-based value. And we're building the trust of our brand on behalf of the agent, right? So I think it's really important that Sean does his own front end outreaches with his calls, his texts, his own emails, Sean Rourke. But at the same time, they're learning about the Figueroa team. At the same time, they're learning about what we've done in the market. At the same time, they see our advertisement all over. But it's the value, social evidence call to action, right? I mean, I probably, if you've heard me speak, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, the Gary Vee method. It's a strategy that you need to stick to very consistently. Sean is an overachiever every day for 30 days. Good luck getting your agents to effectively do that. He is a unicorn in that space. But I think part of the conversation that needs to be had is understanding the cash offer product and why we have a strategy that's based around that product specifically. People that come for cash offers are typically, they have a motivation beneath the inquiry that you need to try to understand and get. So I think the concept of understanding the cash offers and playing to that call to action and taking it down that path and going with the open door offer and not pitching yourself as a real estate agent, trying to secure their motivation, because typically what people want most for their product, which is their house in this case, is the most. I'm about to sell my car. I want as much as possible. I'm literally going to go to the dealership that gives me the most money for my car. I haven't even decided what I want next, right? So I think the concept there is that if they want the cash offer, our job is to deliver that cash offer first and foremost. So we switched, built our strategy around that. right? That like, we're going to get you a cash offer through our partners at Open Door. We're going to get you a cash offer from our local investors. We're going to get you a cash offer any of the iBuyer you have in your market. So the opportunity comes with the consumer when you do go to present all the solutions they have to their underlying problem. Now, whether Sean in this case gets the underlying problem prior to presenting the cash offers, when the dollar signs come out, the reason comes out as well. I can't take that offer because of X. I can't take that offer because of Y. So then you really get the problem. So everything that happens before the conversation is all about consistency in terms of strategy. Weekly emails, monthly CMAs, a text every 2 weeks, seeing how they're doing, calling as much as your schedule allows you to. Sean, once again, every day for 30 days is crazy. I always ask for every day for 10 days, then follow up weekly after the fact is what we do. 10 days of pain. So, but sticking to the strategy, right? If you miss a phone call, you're starting back at square zero, right? If you don't send an email, you're starting back at square zero. So the conceptual approach about it is to stay in front of the consumer with value. Once Sean does get him on the phone, it's 100% talking about the cash offer. Hey, my investors do not buy houses until I get eyes on the property. I'm gonna either go out there to take video, or you need to send me videos of your property. One of the two. With that information, we can go and secure cash offers from all the iBuyers in our local area. And now Sean has the ammunition to come with the full CMA on what it would take on the market and several cash offers associated with it as well. And one thing people tend to forget as well is that if the iBuyers won't buy it from buy box or condition, we probably can't sell it retail as well, right? If the condition's too bad. So I always tell people too, go get yourself a wholesale partner in your market as well that's willing to wholesale homes as well. But regardless, stay in front of them consistently with value. Once you get the opportunity, go in on the cash offer. No one cares that you're a real estate agent. Nobody cares you're with the Figueroa team. They've already saw your emails. They know very well who you are. They want to know how much they can get for their house. You need to stick to that path as much as possible.
Yeah,
I hope that
absolutely.
helped.
No, definitely. Now, one of the questions in the audience had was, let's talk about some of the best strategies to convert online leads. You already got into that about the sellers. What are
Yeah.
some scripts that you guys are using to convert these opportunities?
On the
So-
seller side, it's exactly
For
that.
sellers or for buyers?
It's like, hey, yeah, which one? Because we use two different channels. Because if you don't understand the two different products, you're going to be tripping over yourself. So, Kendall went away. The seller side, scripts are very simple, right? My name is Eric Perez with the Figueroa team. Got your inquiry for a cash offer. I would love to offer you one. I need some information about your property. Do you have a minute today? That's it, right? Very simple. We could have a 4 pillars approach and get really in depth. Like we could talk about just seller leads for 2 hours. On the buyer side, hey, how you doing? My name is Eric Perez with the Figueroa team. I saw you had an inquiry on 123 Main Street. Any questions about the property I can help you out with? That's it.
We like to go straight for the
If you-
appointment as well. We're not
Yeah.
here to qualify you on the phone the minute that we get you on the phone, right? Because we know that when you start qualifying these clients, your appointment rate is going to go down. This is all about getting belly to belly with them, right? So I'm going to go
Correct.
straight, especially if it has a property tied to it. I'm going straight for the appointment. Hey, Kendall, this is Harold with the Figueroa team. I see you're looking at 123 Main Street. What date and time did you want to see it? Is there any other properties that you want to see, right? I need to meet you where you are. I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, dialed out. I saw that no one dialed out on it, dialed out, picked up, super nice, just said, hey, I just clicked on this. I'm just browsing, right? Instantly ready to get off the phone. I set up all the metrics as far as what I was going to do. I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you because it sounds like you're just starting out and you don't want to be bothered, right? I'm going to set you up on a search, right? I'm going to check in with you about once a month, just making sure everything is in line. And of course, if there's anything that came out, and for instance, Sean.
Oh no.
For in Florida, if you know about Hometown Hero, it's a down payment assistance program, right? Sean made sure he called every seller, left them a voicemail, letting them know how $100 million just came into Florida and how there's going to be a surge of buyers that are coming out with this down payment assistance. And he went off with sellers, right? And the same thing you could go with buyers. If I see someone, I'm calling you 10 times, and I see you're always on our site, I can't get a hold of you, and you looked at 123 Main Street 10 times and you hearted it, well, I have enough agents on my team that are hungry that I could say, hey, I know we're not getting a hold of them. Go do a virtual tour and then send it off and see what happens on that one that they looked at 10 times. And then let's see what happens from there. So that's what we're really focusing on.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we had a great question from the audience. What about out-of-state buyers? Have you guys been getting any out-of-state buyers?
Yeah,
From
we're in Florida. We get all
Yeah.
out-of-state buyers. Like Harold said, virtual consultations. Build a relationship with the consumer. We're at a point now where demand is so low, every buyer is precious. So if you can get face-to-face time conversation with them, absolutely. For all of our listings, we do virtual tours. So it's pretty cool. If somebody does call about our listings, we just send them the virtual tours. So they can take a look at it and hopefully get it sold. But yeah, we make that. We've been doing that since COVID. I mean, Harold can attest to that. We've sold so many houses without the individuals actually seeing them when it's all said and done. But yeah, virtual tours, getting face to face, FaceTime, doing videos, doing whatever it is to build a relationship with that consumer, because buyers are at a scarcity. So you need a service. It's a service game, right? Like Harold exactly said, like, oh, you're not ready? Cool. I'm still going to service you in this cadence, right? So if you focus on the service side of it, you'll be okay. It's all about providing high service.
Well, thank you for saying that too. I feel like one of the biggest challenges I think that we have, and it's a roadblock we've created for ourselves, is that lack of communication. And part of the reason why we don't communicate effectively is because too many of us do not have a process. We don't have a plan. We don't have a strategy, to your point, Eric. And so I feel like if we could focus on, take a step back, apply a plan and a strategy, and then communicate that plan, because to me, that represents leadership. And I think that is our job as real estate professionals, is to lead the consumer down a path, not just of self-discovery, but also, self-actualization, like actually buying or selling the home or doing the work, or fulfilling the goal that they have. So when trying to build, these relationships and establish this trust, I also know you guys leverage artificial intelligence to help you as a part of your strategy. Talk to us about how you're using AI to complement your strategy and what you're doing with your online lead generation and online leads and opportunities in particular, even with realty.com.
Yeah, I'll take this one, Harold. Don't worry, I got you.
I got it, but you got it.
Yeah, research and content creation. Research and content creation are the two biggest things that you can leverage for AI. Some of the tools that we have, like Ylopo does have Raya, some automation AI tools, and a lot of people do have that, or a lot of people, we utilize that in all our leads that come in, especially if they're engaging on the website. Raya will start a conversation with them, but that's been in play from Ylopo since we had the product for nearly 3 years. I think for us, the way we leverage AI is developing so much content that we can put out there to our online leads where they know, like, and trust our brand, from video scripts, from email writing, from blog creation, to doing research about a market specifically. That's where you can really use AI. I don't think it's at the point where it is quality enough to replace an agent, because we're in a relationship business, and every single phone call, every single piece of communication between the agent and consumer is just making deposits into that relationship, right? So I think for us, it's, maybe the consumer might not necessarily know who they're, on the AI front, but it doesn't feel authentic on our end, to be quite honest with you. So we like to use it for just content creation, and that's basically it. I mean, we do all our own data analysis in-house, in terms of what advertisements working, in terms of what emails are working, and we make adjustments accordingly. But we create content that would be geared towards our research that we use AI to find. We literally put together. I mean, Ella, our director of marketing, she's amazing. I think like this year we've deployed probably 212 pieces of content to our consumers, and I would say about 40 to 50% of that was developed using artificial intelligence for sure.
So basically, just to kind of summarize what you're doing, basically you're using these lead portals like realty.com to generate new contacts within your database.
Yep.
Then you're
Yep.
retargeting them
Yep.
through, you're doing your call, text, email combination or contact attempts. You're leading with value, but you're also retargeting them on the back end. Is that correct?
Yeah, we push all of our data into the advertisers like Facebook, Google, Bing, and YouTube. And this is where the content creation piece comes into play. So every week we're running advertisement along with an email campaign towards those consumers based if they're a buyer or seller, or even we recruit that same way too, agents as well. So and that's where the content creation comes into play. It's really hard to generate content if you want to be consistent. It gets diluted, it gets watered down, it gets repetitive. At the end of the day, we try to build a strategy based on value. So, if we have a 5-week cadence, the first 3 weeks, we're giving them an information. If they're a seller, it's selling information. If they're a buyer, it's buying information. If they're agent-based information, tips and tricks, right? And then on the 4th week, we're doing a lot of social evidence. So what does that mean? Number 1 team in EXP. Here's some client testimonials from people that worked with us in the past. Here are reviews on Zillow and Google and wherever else they're at. And on the agent side of it, it's like, hey, look at an agent on our team that was very successful. And then on the 5th week is the call to action. Hey, click here to tour homes. Click here to get a home evaluation. Click here to get a cash offer. So we use that cadence on that 5-week window, and all that content, like not all, but 50% plus is probably developed through AI because we're driving value through blogs. It is tedious to write blogs every week. It's much easier to have Jasper or ChatGPT just write a blog in 15 minutes, right? Or 5 seconds truly is the time. So we use that so we can build enough content to keep our consumer insulated within our ecosystem. So that's why AI for us is so important. Will it be used later in more developed scenarios of consumer service? Absolutely could be in the future. But right now, we don't take any shortcuts. We do develop content AI, but we are requesting and demanding that our agents, put in that work. They have to earn that opportunity for sure with the consumer. So.
Yeah. So what's interesting to me about this is, I've been saying this for quite some time. There's 2 groups of people you know and people you don't know. Which one's bigger? The people you don't know, right? And then I always ask
Correct.
agents, who should you be prospecting to? I wonder in the comments, who do you think you should be prospecting to, guys? Tell us in the comments who you think that is. But the answer is both, right? You need to be prospecting and communicating with both. And why do we do that? Is because, everyone talks about real estate being a relationship business. And, the question is, how do you build relationship? Okay, well, know, like, and trust. And I feel like it's actually more important that people trust you first. They won't do business. They can know you and not trust you. And if they don't trust you, they're not doing business with you. So the number one goal is building trust, then building them deciding they like you, so therefore they want to work with you. And then the third piece is they need to not necessarily know you, but know about you. And I think like you guys have done a really good job at communicating that value and building that trust first, then making sure they like you. And then now, hey, they know about you so that they'll do business with you. Sean and Harold, I want to ask you guys about, lead fatigue, right? What is your experience with that? How are you combating that? How are you, managing that in your business? Sean, you want to go first?
So I mean, I try to take as much as I can get, but at the same token, I know with some of our lead sources, we're competing with others, and there's timetables and there's standards and metrics that need to be met. So what we found is that on the listing side, our agents have been responsive enough to tell Eric, hey, look, I need to be turned off for an event or this or that, or if they're having too many leads coming in, or they have too many things going on. And that's been good. But as far as lead fatigue, I know that we've opened up different lead sources to some not new agents, but new agents that have been on our team for a while to join some of these lead sources to help alleviate that lead fatigue, because it's a real thing and people get worn out. I get anxiety if I have overdue tasks. It drives me nuts. But it's I don't know. Also at the same time, it's a very competitive market. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful? So you got to weigh the good with the bads. You know, it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
That's all right. Harold, how about you? Any tips for that?
Like Eric mentioned, Sean's a unicorn, so we don't expect everyone to grab as much, right? You got to have a cap. You have to put a cap on your agents.
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing is you can't manage what you don't measure. If we're just getting these leads and we're just giving them to our agents and we're expecting magic to happen, we're already starting off on the wrong foot, right? So for instance, what does that look like? You're going to have one-on-ones. If you're not having ones, have a group one-on-one with everyone that's on realty.com and pull up their numbers. If I'm giving you X amount of leads, I expect you to dial out on them. If I find out you're not dialing out on them, guess what? You're not in the program anymore. You're either going to be paused until you catch up, or you're going to just be taken out, right? You always have to put caps on it. And, you know, of course, those caps could change, right? Let's say I said, hey, I'm going to give you 15 leads this month, right? Let's see what you do with them. And all 15, let's say they've been doing everything that they're supposed to. Phone, you know, dialing out, texting, emails, showing some type of worth, right? Either doing a preview, open house, anything like that they could send out. And there's no communication with them. Well, we'll open it up. Here's some extra ones. But that's how you truly manage lead fatigue. I'm not going to let you have 40 leads. You call 25 of them, and the other, you know, 15 or so are just chilling out, right? So that's how you truly manage it. Other than that, we're really measuring it. You know, Eric, thank God that he's with us, because the guy could pull up data from nothing, right? And he'll still have it. You know, with myself and Sean, we're just like, show me what you're doing. Eric could be like, I already know what you're doing, and it's nothing. You know, so it works out. It works out beautiful.
Yeah. So
one metric, Kendall. One metric.
Yeah.
One metric. 90-day conversion rate. 90-day conversion rate, and it will tell you who has lead fatigue, who doesn't. Anybody who's dipping below 8%, they got too many leads, because it's success over trials. It's conversions over the amount of leads. They could have 10 closings, but if they took 180 leads in that period of time, their conversion rate is not good. And then you see people that only have 3 to 4 closings, but they have 15% conversion rate. It's like, well, that lead allocation went south there, right? Because it's not about someone being at 15. It's not about someone to be at 5. It's about everybody being at 10, right? So the 15%, that's too high of a conversion rate. That means they don't have enough clients to work with. You know, that's ridiculous. 33%, forget it. Like you're taking one client, you know, like we have an agent like that who closed one deal every quarter, but they took 3 clients. 33, but like that's not doing anybody any favors, right? So like if your conversion rate is too high, I want to stuff you with leads to bring you down, right? And if your conversion rate is too low, I want to, you know, cut you off so you can nurture that pipeline, because they're people, you know, they're people, and we sell the hardest thing in America. We work with the most qualified consumer in America. If you can buy a house, you can literally buy anything. Boat, car, whatever, right? You can finance anything. So I think the question of it is that, like, if you measure 90-day conversion rate, and we actually in our sales meeting, guys, at 2, you'll be seeing my report, you'll see what I call my green group, which means like they need more, and my gray group, which is like they need time before they get any more. So measuring that and understanding that threshold of 10% is the real goal, you know, and anybody falls above needs more, anybody falls below needs less. And just taking that simple look at your business, and you'll understand who has lead fatigue and who doesn't. There's no way to prevent it, right? Ultimately, unless you take less, but then you're not making money to stay in the business. So it's this balancing act that we have to do, and that 10% mark is critical.
I want to ask one final question in our last 5 minutes of this. I mean, I could ask 10 more questions, to be honest. I love this. I learned so much when I am on the phone with you all. You mentioned this, and I just want to put a button on it, which is accountability and standards, and
Mhm.
how important that is to the success of any, not just online lead conversion, but also just to a team, right?
Sure.
And the model of, and even for an individual agent, it doesn't matter. Standards and accountability matter. And in a few words, can you tell us about that? I want to hear from Sean first as an agent, how he experiences standards and accountability. And then I'd love to hear from Harold and Eric, as well as leaders of a team. Sean,
So
what's
with
your
accountability, that's something that you have to have discipline. You have to, if you want to come in and do the bare minimum into real estate, you do the bare minimum, you'll be selling houses to your uncle, old neighbor, babysitter or something. You'll sell 2-3 a year. But if you're really committed, you have to have that accountability, not only for yourself, but for all of the resources and training and time that if you're on a team or even in an office, if anyone's helping you, if somebody's taking time out of your day and you don't have accountability to yourself, don't waste the time. That accountability starts right with number one. It has to, whether you're on a team or not. And if you are on a team, the amount of money they spend on marketing and resources, you need to reciprocate that appreciation with your accountability.
Absolutely. Harold, what does that look like for you? Standards and accountability.
Everything, standards and accountability. This is coming from someone who's been on this team the longest, right? We're a team that, again, we were successful just by doing things, right? There wasn't really any standards or accountability until we really got into, I would say, like 2018, 2019. We were like, all right, Veronica was like, let's switch this up a little bit. And truly when Eric got into it is where we really got serious with it, right? But number one, accountability is going to come from everyone. It doesn't just come from me. It doesn't just come from Eric or the people in leadership. We have a great group of agents, agent advisory board, right? Our senior agent, Sean's a part of it. And we roll out a lot of things first by rolling it out to them to see how it's going to sound, how it's going to feel to the rest of the agents. I know that if I'm not in the office and Sean's in the office, he's holding people accountable, right? I think that our culture is changing into a culture of professionals and winners. And you're a winner without selling, right? You're a winner with how you show up. Are you a good teammate to your other team members, right? That's how you're a winner. But we're changing our culture in a sense that you don't want to be the one that's lacking because everyone else is winning, right? And when everyone else is winning, it just comes to a place where you don't want to be the man that's left out. I think if you make things exclusive as well on your team, you're going to end up getting basically a bench for whether it's your lead sources, right? People raising their hands. I want to be a part of this so bad. How do I get into it? But you have to have standards and accountability just for the fact that our standards are what's going to hold the agents to what they're doing, right? But that accountability comes when myself, Eric, and Sean aren't in the office, right? For instance, this past week, we took a good amount of our leadership to Phoenix for a conference, right? And you know what? By the end of the week, when I was doing my email to Eric as far as, hey, who hit standards, who didn't, it was actually pretty short. I was actually surprised because the team continued to work without us even being there. And that's what I'm looking for.
I wasn't even there. I had inspections and appraisal. And this team's turned around. It's awesome. And they're holding each other accountable now too. I love it.
I do love that. Before we go, 30 seconds. Justin asked, what qualifies a new agent to start receiving leads? I didn't want to leave off without answering this question because I think it's a relevant one for a lot of teams. Who can tell me?
I can tell
Eric, you want to touch on access to action?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can touch on it really quick, but without getting too specific on what we do specifically, and it actually goes into accountability. Just who can you qualify as someone that can hold themselves accountable to the team standards? And a lot of the times, to answer that question, is that like when we talk about accountability, we're not making the rules. The market makes the rules. We're just holding you to a standard that keeps you employed in this business. That's what we're doing. That's what accountability and standards are about. How do I keep you employed in this business? Because if you don't like what we have on this team, I guarantee you'll find somewhere softer where you'll make a lot less money. I can guarantee you that. Because I got over 13 six-figure earners on my team, on my roster, and that's cold hard in the bank, right? And yeah, they work really hard. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's what the market requires us. So standards and accountability is super hard, super important, and they're hard to ramp up. So you have to do it in layers. Would be my best coaching mechanism, step by step. We didn't start with the accountability we had today. It's been layered. Like it's been layered so much. Now we have an access through action program. Now we have a point scoring system. Now we have so much additional layers of accountability. But it's, that's what it is. But yeah, it's who can you trust for your consumer, Justin, is who you give the leads to, and they have to show that through their actions.
Wow. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Veronica, so very much. Thank you for sharing your time, your knowledge, your expertise. We are just so grateful. I got so many nuggets out of this. I'm going to definitely watch this back on the replay just so I can really focus and write my notes down. I think that everyone in the audience got a ton of nuggets as well. For those of you that were able to be here, with us, we appreciate you so very much. We do have a screen to, so thank you, Harold, Eric, Sean, you guys are amazing. Thank you to our audience. We do have another event in a couple of weeks. Would love to see you guys there. This is the Roadmap webinar series event. We are going to bring in Wally Bressler. He is a coach with Realty.com. He's also a coach for other agents privately. He's done some amazing things. He's really helped agents overcome, call reluctance and things like that. Because I know that's also a big challenge that a lot of agents have to calling their online leads. So please don't miss that. Please register. The link is here and look for other opportunities. We do this twice a month. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day and catch us on the other end. All right. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks, Kendall.